Hey Starcrafters, Wookie here, and I decided now that Season 2 is upon us that I'm going to play Protoss. I spent all of Season 1 as random, and did okay, learned a lot, but it's a lot to think about, a lot of matchups, and I found out that, or figured out that a lot of times I was just throwing buildings down and kicking units out and not really concentrating on the matchups. So now I'm playing Protoss, and I'm still in the Bronze League because, well, I don't want to say because, but what happened was I was still random when I placed and got Zerg and got owned. But I'm over it. So what I'm doing here in this video is looking at some various Protoss openings that you can use and what they do, their strengths, their weaknesses. Now admittedly, I'm not all that familiar with these, so we're going to look at them together and talk about them. You can see here on this one, I'm on Agria Valley, by the way, in a custom game against a computer opponent on very easy so that I can ignore them. I sent a scouting probe out to simulate the game, but I'm just macroing at my base, and what I'm doing here, I believe, is a 3-gate Robo. And I could go through this really slow, and we could see all my little, like, forgetting to build probes, and that, so I mean, this is not perfect, but neither am I, and I certainly don't play that way in game. But you can see I did one gateway into a gas, into a sat core, getting the upgrade for the warp gates, and then here come the other 2 gateways and the robotics bay on 2 geysers. So with that support, and then I just start making units. And here at the ramp, by the way, this is a configuration you can use to block off your ramp if you choose to wall in. You put your first pylon back here. If I select this one, you can see, that's kind of hard to tell now, but this ring here right at the front of the ramp is where the vision on that extends. And so you put it back here so it's out of the way, and then you block off your ramp, leaving 1 square here to allow your stalkers and zealots. Now it is possible to put this too close to the edge and only leave half a square there, and your zealots will be able to get out, but your stalkers won't. And that's embarrassing when that happens, so don't do that. But here you can see I have 3-gate roboed. I have, for the most part, not a supply block myself. I did probably at 18 and 42 because those are my 2 trip up spots. That's where I always get tripped up on supply. I'm stopping at about the 10-minute mark just to look. You can see I've got weapons 1 on the way, and if we look at my units tab, I was able to kick out 30 probes, an observer, 6 zealots, an immortal, 11 stalkers, and I even got 1 sentry in there just to have a little bit of a mix. Of course, you know, you can shuffle those numbers around all you want, but 10 minutes into a game, that is what a 3-gate 1 robo with a wall off looks like. So there's something you can do. The reason I like this build is it gives you enough units on the map. Obviously I didn't go engage anything, I didn't get rushed, so you're not going to be sitting at 10 minutes with this many units all the time, but the Robo Bay gives you an early observer for scouting, which is nice. Lets you go right to immortals. You can pretty much build off of this, assuming you've got your 30 probes. You can pretty much build off of this until you can secure an expansion. Like, you'll be able to build something out of your warp gates every time they cool down, and you should be able to keep, if not a constantly producing an immortal, you should be able to sneak one in here and there. You might have to cut a gateway unit, but you can do it. And then I like holding on this, getting my weapons 1, and then trying to get an expansion out. And once that's up and running, and you got, in the vicinity of 42 probes, you can throw on another gateway or maybe a starport and get your what's it called? Colossus Bay is what I call it, but that's not what it is. Your robotics facility, your robotics bay down for Colossus. So that's how that one works. Now I'm going to go fetch another game, and we're going to look at a different starting configuration for the Protoss. Okay, here we are in a second game, and this is same setup. I'm just against an ignorable computer opponent on a very simple map. And this time we're going to look at a little bit different configuration. It's pretty similar. I do the same thing here with my pylon, putting it in the back so that I can get vision on my ramp and still block it off, but the pylon doesn't get too close to the front where it can be sniped. So I'll be doing another wall off here. This time I went gateway and gas, much like the last game. This one's going to have a little bit different look though. Side core again, so it's not different yet, but I think I loaded up a different game, so we shall see. Trying not to get supply blocked. Working on the warp gate right away. This one I went with a sentry. And we'll look for the timing on that second gas geyser. Keep the production tab open for you if it doesn't take up too much space. So next is another gateway, and there's a Robo. So this is a 2-gate Robo with the simulator coming in right after the robotics bay. Keeping up on the probes. And of course forgetting to actually put probes on the Vespine geyser just like I would in a real game. Getting supply blocked at 42 like I do every single game. So that's natural, that's normal. Now I'm putting units out, and here is the variation. This is a 2-gate Robo expand. You can see the expansion went down just around the 8-minute mark. And we're going to look at, we're coming up on 10 minutes real fast here, and that's where I'm going to stop the game, and we're going to look at units. Bam! And what I was able to do here is, let me get my units tab up. 28 probes, so I didn't quite get to 30. I got only 2 zealots, 3 immortals for some beef, and 5 stalkers, and 3 sentries for the extra defense. So obviously the sentries you'll put on like control group 2 and use to block your ramp, keep yourself safe because you are low on units, and you just defend yourself. I did the same wall in, you can see there with a little space. And use just units from 2 gateways and 1 Robo, so that your money stockpiles and you can get this. And then the idea of course would be to run this over here, get down another gateway right away and start making units. And there's I haven't really experimented with this build. I mean, I know it exists, I have used it. I don't remember being particularly successful with it. I don't remember being particularly owned while doing it either. I mean, not more so than I usually get owned. But obviously you got to scout and see what your opponent's doing. These aren't going to apply. You can't just do this. You know, like if you're getting proxy gated, or if you're getting cannon rushed, or if you're getting 10 pooled or whatever, you can't just blindly go through these builds. But there is a look, a 2-gate Robo. You can see at the 10-minute mark the expansion is up. I just got probes to it, and there's some units. I'm warping in a few more here. So there are some units on the field to defend yourself with. I will be right back with yet another game. Okie doke, StarCrafters, we're in the third look, and we're going to speed this up because I don't want to make you sit there all day and watch me play solo games at regular speed. That would be kind of cruel, I think. And this is the classic 4-gate. This is the build that Protoss are chewing you up with, and you can't figure out why. So here I keep everything close to the nexus. We're not going out to my ramp this time. And it's obviously gateway first into gas. Cybernetics core is pretty standard. I again sent out a scouting probe just to simulate a real game situation. I know I'm going through this fast, but you can watch it again if you want to. Notice the timing on the warp gate technology. You get the gas and some guys in it in enough time to so that when your cybernetics core is done, you can start to gas right away. And here's the important thing: you kind of got to stop making stuff. I might even back up. I don't back up very often in my videos, so let's do that. I want to see when these gateways go down. Alright, the gateways are going down. And we are at about halfway on the warp gate technology. And you can see I was saving up a little money, and then I put down my 3 gateways right in a row. Bam, bam, bam. Not making any probes. Chrono boosting out the warp gate tech. Then we'll speed it up. And we're going to watch this warp gate tech and when it finishes relative to the gateways. Oh, the anticipation is killing me. Can you feel that? Building extra pylons because you're going to do some pretty quick warp-ins right away. Did you hear that research complete? And that's bang, bang, bang right in a row at just about 6 minutes. I mean, obviously, I didn't time that perfectly. That's not master level, but with a little practice, you can do that. And then, of course, I moved out because I'm playing these till 10 minutes just to see what happens, see what I can get accomplished in 10 minutes. And at 7, I'm at the ramp of my opponent. And this I kind of slowed down. I should have had this probe out here well earlier. I don't forgate a whole lot because, well, yeah, it is the principle. I am that guy. I don't think that forgating all the time is particularly fun. So I've done it a little bit. I get owned by it plenty. I'm not trying to deceive you guys. A forgate will usually kick my butt, and in PvP, if we both forgate, it ends up being a base race, and I tend to lose those. So I don't have it down perfectly smooth, but there's a decent look at it. The idea, obviously, is to get that proxy pylon out and warp in, so you don't have to run all the way across the map. You can keep moving these pylons closer and closer, assuming there's no creep there, of course. But you can see by 10 minutes, with no resistance, I was able to get all the way through the base. So there's a look at it. And obviously I built these in my defensive positions, so you use the buildings as defense, since you're not building any static defense, and the whole point is that you're taking your entire army away from your base. So if a rush came through, or if a push came in, having the buildings set up could actually give you avenues to defend yourself with your probes while you warped in units or whatever in that event. So there's a look at the forgate. And I got one more, which I'm not real serious about, but I thought we'd look at. Okay, StarCrafters, we're back in the last look, and here's a build that I'm not too serious about, but I might try it. I'm not sure how viable it is because I don't know how survivable it is. But we'll take a look at it anyway. In this one, I don't go to my ramp either. I keep it real close to the Nexus. But you can see, and by the way, this is a good exercise that you can do if you're trying to work through things. Just play, any map for 10 minutes and throw your buildings down in whatever order you're working on. See how many units you can crank out, and just stop at 10 minutes and count your units. See what you've got and how that compares. Now you notice here, second gas pretty quick. I've got 1 gateway and bam, Robo. 5 minutes of Robo goes down. And then shortly thereafter, you should see, maybe I get an immortal out first. I go right to an observer and then immortal. And building up some gas, because what I'm going to start doing is cranking out immortals. Now, I'm going to pause. We're going to look at my units tab. Here's the problem. I've got 4 zealots and 1 sentry at 7 minutes. Now, say a Protoss opponent will be coming at me with a 4-gate right now. And that, yeah, a Zerg opponent playing for real has roaches crawling up my ramp right now. So I'm not sure how survivable it is, but you can see I've got an immortal almost done and another zealot coming. So I don't know. You've been warned if you want to try this, but it was something that if you don't get rushed, and maybe if you use your buildings out here at the front and block this off. It's more viable. I just didn't do it. I was just trying to see how many units I could crank out. But I was surprised actually by the number of immortals you can get out. You can actually support 2 Robo base on this setup, and you use this warp gate to knock down your money if it's getting too high, or to knock down your gas if it's getting too high. You get a zealot or an immortal. Well, where'd everybody go? Alright, so you can see 10 minutes. Well, we're at 10:49, so let me back up, because 10 minutes is the benchmark I use. Alright, there's 10 minutes. It's gonna jump. I'm gonna pause. Okay, 10:07, good enough. And I got 25 probes out this time, so a little slow on the probes, with an observer, 5 zealots, 5 immortals, 2 stalkers, and a sentry. 3 sentries rather. So that's a healthy number of units. I actually don't have the numbers from my previous games written down, but as this is a video, we can go back and look and compare those numbers pretty handily. So there's some different Protoss looks for you. In some of them I get a forge and some upgrades, and some I cut that out just to get more units. But as with all builds, once you get to a certain point, it's up to you to decide what you want to do. So I went to the 10-minute mark, and then from there the game is yours. I can't offer you advice past that point. But I also highly recommend this exercise. Just get yourself into a game and test out your builds. Stop at 10 minutes and compare units. Do it the same way 6 times and see what's the most number of units you can get out. Watch the replays. Notice when you fail to build probes. Notice when you forget to build units. Notice when you get supply blocked. Those kind of things. Try to smooth it out, and maybe you can increase your macro. There's nothing wrong with just playing against nobody, or an ignorable opponent, and honing your skills, and then seeing if you can translate that into an actual real game. So I have been and will continue to be Wookiee. Good luck, have fun on your ladder, guys, and I will see you next time I learn something.